fall. I'll be here as your foundation. And I say, hey, yo, just let it go. Your struggles fall from rain. And I say, hey, yo, we're holding hope and wake up yesterday. So hold on to me. Hold on to me. Hold on to me. Hold on to me.
Talk back to you. Say you like that. Hate you then. Find someone new. Maybe, but you know I never go. I choke you down just like
gang, blood.
It's what I did, I'm failing, it took myself away. If it's true, you don't know me, rich destiny. It's only race me. Yeah, I'm a millionaire, I can see the night, yeah. Can't imagine all the little ways that I'm a millionaire, I can see the night, yeah. See the night, yeah, I can see the night, say I'm a millionaire, I can see the night, yeah. Can't imagine all the little ways that I'm a millionaire, I can see the night, yeah. See the night, yeah, I can see the night, say yeah, say
I just assumed I'd play the part of keeping you in the right direction. No matter how your confidence may fall, I'll be here as your foundation. And I say, hey, yo, just let it go. Your struggles won't remain. And I say, hey, yo, we're holding hope and wake up yesterday. So
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Good, thank
George,
you.
can you hear me all okay?
Yeah, all good. How's it going?
Excellent. Good, thank you. Everyone, welcome to day two of the DeFi Legends stream. Pretty intense day yesterday to kick things off. Hopefully followed by another good day today. I'm joined by George from Footium. Hey George.
Hey Ross, how's it going?
Good, thanks. Really excited to have you taking the time out of your day today so we can find out a bit more about Footium. Maybe just to kick things off, you could give a bit of an overview of the project, the concept, and then we take things from there.
Sure thing, yeah. So Footium itself is a web-free football management game. So what that means is it's a chance to own your own football club, to manage that club, the kind of players that you have inside the club, the tactics that you use, the formations you play, the player acquisition strategy, so buying and selling your own players, and other people's players, as well as having a youth academy to bring through some young talent into your squad and develop them and effectively try and get to the higher leagues to win prizes from doing so. And yeah, having a very fun football management game that is not just you're not playing against a computer, you're actually playing against other people who own their teams, who are trying to outsmart you as you try and outsmart them as well.
It's really cool. Such a cool idea. And how does it differ to some projects that people might be familiar with, say, for example, like So Rare or Fantasy Football? And what are the main kind of differences?
Sure. So So Rare is more on the sort of fantasy football side. So it's based on real world players. You pick some of like 5 players each week that you own to play in your team, and how they perform in real life scores you some points, and those points add up, and you win prizes based on how many points you score there. Whereas Footium is it's not based on real world players. They're all kind of generated within the game, and you're not just picking players for your lineup. You're also doing the tactics, the way they're going to play, the formation they're going to play in. You're playing against someone rather than just trying to score as many points as possible. So there's that kind of player versus player element in it as well. And also you play every day rather than just sort of once or twice a week, which adds another element to it. It's more engaging, hopefully. I love So Rare as well. It's a huge project. It's really cool to play, but I think Footium allows people that are more into kind of the actual strategy behind football to get some exposure and not only play the game, but hopefully kind of be able to earn some revenue from playing that.
So Footium's a lot kind of like the old Football Manager games or the Football Manager games where you can get really into the tactics, everything from managing the stadium down to like the morale of the team and everything. It lets you completely micromanage your team, right?
Yeah, definitely. It probably won't be quite as detailed as Football Manager is these days at the start, but we want to continue adding obviously features past the launch as well, trying to get it to a stage where we think is still playable and it's not too complex, but has that level of complexity where you can, if you really want to, spend spend a lot of time optimizing across your whole club, not just on the pitch as well.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to get super into it. I've already seen some of the like sort of beta gameplay that you guys have been streaming, and it looks pretty amazing already, even though it's not launched yet. So I think congratulations are due for what you've done so far. Could you talk a little bit about the roadmap? So first of all, where is it built on Ethereum? What's the plan there? When do people need to pay gas? That sort of thing, and then maybe we could take things from there.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of the chain we're deploying on, so currently are the NFT football clubs. There's 3,000 of them. They're currently on Ethereum layer 1. However, the game obviously will be launching on layer 2 because of gas fees. Gas fees will kind of need to be paid when transferring players, when minting academy players and everything like that, not for kind of submitting your tactics or anything like that though. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do gas subsidization, so users won't actually have to pay any gas in the game to a certain limit. Obviously, we don't want to get spammed with loads of transactions to drain our gas kind of funds, but yeah, so users won't actually have to pay any gas is the goal, and that hopefully will be much better for the user experience, and it will allow kind of people to not worry about the kind of gas fees when making transfers within the game. But yeah, aside from that, we're currently in our closed beta, which is internal testing with some team members, some advisors, some investors, and then hopefully by the end of March, we'll be rolling out our public beta. So that will allow anyone that owns a Footium club to play the game, to test it, to give feedback, suggest kind of new features, improvements, etc. And following that, we'll be kind of doing that beta testing for a month or two, integrating those additional features, fixing any bugs that we found, and and kind of second quarter of 2022, we'll be launching the full game. So excited to see what people get up to once we launch.
Pretty amazing. And can you touch a bit on how you're making the game fair to play? Because I think one of the issues that we have in NFT gaming and a lot of the fantasy football stuff is that it becomes a bit of a battle for who's got the best cards or who's got the best players or who's got the best NFTs, and there's not really any way for people to like get into the game. Starting from scratch, it becomes a bit of a closed shop. But you guys are all about the fans. I know you've thought quite strongly about this. So what kind of mechanics have you got within the game to make sure that like players who aren't involved anymore are penalized and those that are active are kind of rewarded?
Yeah, so in terms of, say, if you're just not really playing, not changing your tactics, then you're going to have just people playing every week, and that will mean their fitness deteriorates, then you get injuries, and it'll just be basically like automatic swap outs. So they're not going to be the most optimized, and eventually your club's just going to kind of drop down the ranks. And then for people that are actively playing, they're going to get those benefits of, if they're watching the game live, it gets to the 60th minute and they're 2-0 down, they can bring on an extra attacker, change to attacking, go more pressing, try and get those goals back. Whereas someone that's kind of more passive might not be able to do that. And one feature we're integrating to kind of enable that on a wider scale is an assistant manager feature. So you'll be able to allow someone else to have certain permissions for your club, such as changing the tactics or changing the lineups in case you're on holiday, so you can't play for this week. So you can get your friend or someone else, maybe one of the club co-owners, that can kind of do that on your behalf as well, which is quite useful. And it would be really useful in a lot of other play-to-earn games that I've seen. But we've kind of found a pretty cool way of doing that. So we're excited to implement that as well.
So not only we're going to be able to make our teams rise up their rankings and potentially earn some good revenue, but also there's a new career that I can see happening where assistant managers are hiring their skills out to teams if they're not doing very well. I might put myself forward for that. I think that could be a good new career.
The Pep Guardiola of the Footium football universe.
Exactly. 8
Definitely.
teams in one season. And what's the best way for people to get involved as of now? If they, how do they find out like more about how it works, and what would you suggest for like new people who want to get involved?
Yeah, I'd say the first thing to do is go to our Twitter page, which is just @Footium. You can see it written there. I think it's reversed though. And on the top of there, the pinned tweet is just a 1-minute explainer video of what Footium is. And then if you kind of think it's interesting, join our Discord, follow us on Twitter. At the Discord, there's always kind of quite lively, people happy to answer questions. And if you decide you want to buy a club, you can buy them on OpenSea, Rarible, LuxRare. And once you've done that, the most important next step is to make a Twitter account for your club. So we have over, I think, 300 Twitter accounts now have been made for these football clubs that are doing press releases, kit reveals, starting rivalries with other clubs, which is amazing to see from the kind of community even before the game started. So there's also a lot of competitions to get involved with to win rare players, to win other Footium clubs as well. We've given away a couple of Division 3-4 clubs in the past. We've given away Division 8 clubs. So even just being in the Discord server, if you don't want to necessarily buy a club outright, you've still got a chance there to kind of win some prizes and get involved with a lot of like-minded football fans.
I think it's really cool. So DeversiFi has managed to acquire a club as well, and we're really excited about starting to play when the game launches. But I've got to say, I haven't delved into any of the tactics yet, and it looks horrifically complicated. Will people who are new to the game be able to pick it up quite quickly, or is it a case of we're going to be needing to do lots and lots of research before the game starts to pick like the perfect tactic to play against the game, against another team?
Yeah, so I think especially at the start, it won't be super complicated, particularly in the beta. So there's like a limited number of features that we've integrated so far. We know what else we want to integrate in terms of complexity and the kind of match engine and the features. But for now, it'll be kind of a stripped back version so that people firstly can get used to the game, and so that secondly we can ensure that this is the kind of path that we want to go down, because we didn't want to build the entire game and then just launch it without getting any user feedback beforehand. So yeah, I think it's not going to be super complicated, and we've already seen some YouTubers kind of start putting out videos about their kind of strategies and approaches to what they're going to try and do within Footium, whether that's with kind of having multiple clubs and using one as like a feeder club for another, or the kind of tactics that they'd like to play. And obviously, once the beta is released, I imagine there's going to be a whole lot more content on that. So I think that's somewhere you'll be able to turn for kind of help on the tactics front. And I think with all games, there's going to be kind of metas established with certain formations are much better against other formations. So just kind of staying involved in the community, I imagine will help find that. But a couple of community members have already made some kind of amazing projects, such as a kind of data analytics platform that currently does just for the club stuff, analyzing the different club traits and kind of floor prices and suggested prices. But once the game launches, I know they have plans to integrate all the player data into that as well. So you could scout for those kind of hidden gems, undervalued ones. You could look at the kind of most successful tactics, the most successful formations and playing styles, and try and maybe utilize those in your own decision making. And another cool project that has come out of the community already is this fantastic metaverse studio. So a group of kind of developers in the community made an entire studio. This is just one section that you can kind of walk around, built it in Unreal Game Engine. And the idea is that it's a space where we could host kind of podcasts and interviews with managers, watch the games, the kind of results come in on a Saturday, such as Soccer Saturday. So again, it's been really cool to see the community already involved in that. And we'd love to have more people join the community to support similar projects.
This is what I really love. Just from hanging out in the Discord and checking out what's been going on. There's already tons and tons of people who have made Twitter accounts for the clubs. You've got club rivalries already before the game's even launched. I think you've done quite a smart thing with like the logos of the teams. Sometimes there's multiple teams within certain towns. Some have got specific logos that look like they've been ripped off from other ones. Some like have got quite interesting things in them. There's already rivalries springing up, even though people haven't played the game yet. And the Discord's quite interesting because people are so excited about the launch. So I think it's pretty amazing what you guys have done to foster that before the game's even really got going, given that you only really even launched the NFTs, I think it was 2 or 3 months ago. So really excited to see it all grow and everything. And I think the YouTube, the tactics is going to be quite interesting. If it's one of these things where you just have your team select the formation and let it go, that's super simple. But the moment you start bringing in injuries, motivation, home and away, all this sort of stuff, I can see it getting like super interesting. So I'm really interested to see who the leading stars start emerging. And can you explain a little bit about the league setup? Because I think that's quite interesting in itself. It's not like you need to all play in one massive league and then there's only going to be one winner, right? You can start small and grow.
Yeah, definitely. And that's really something we wanted to allow people, because not everyone's going to be able to, afford a top division club, but having the possibility that you can buy a club in the lowest division, which is Division 8, and try and rise that up through the ranks is, I think, very appealing to a lot of people. And like everyone loves an underdog. So I think that's a kind of strategy that a lot of people will be using. The way the divisions are structured, so it's similar to the English National League system, if anyone in the chat knows how that works. But effectively at the top you have the Division 1 league, which is just one league of teams, 12 teams in that league. And then below that you have Division 2, so there's 2 leagues in that league, and 12 teams in each. Then it goes to 4 leagues to 8 leagues, so each league kind of splits into 2 below it, which means you get a sort of funnel that means that half the teams in the Footium ecosystem are in Division 8, and it makes, I think, the sort of the move up the divisions a lot more impressive, and also means that those kind of clubs in the higher divisions are very, very prestigious. Like there's only 12 out of 3,000 clubs in that Division 1 spot, which is really interesting. And I think there'll be a lot of attention on those higher leagues, but also a lot of people playing in the lower leagues, grinding their way up and trying to kind of bring their clubs into those prestigious top leagues.
And how does the prize pool work? What prizes are available when the game starts? And how do people earn those?
Sure, yeah. So to earn the prize pools, the current kind of method is that if you finish in the top 3 in your league of 12, you'll be in for a prize, and also a chance to get promoted to the league above, or the division above, sorry. And the prize pools work. So in the game, there's some transactions you can make. So when you're minting an academy player, there's a small cost to that. When you kind of do a player trade, there's a small percentage fee that goes into the prize pools pot as well. We auction off 20 legendary players at the start of each season, which also goes into the prize pools. There's some cosmetic stuff you can do, such as upgrading your kits. You can actually upgrade your stadium as well, increase the capacity of that, which gives a kind of small morale boost. So a few different ways that all that money kind of goes back into the prize pools for for your league. And we did that in a kind of dynamic manner, so that if your league is really competitive and lots of people are minting academy players, buying other players, that prize pool is going to be larger than a league that isn't quite as competitive. Because I think it's only really fair that if you're having to compete against people that are putting a lot more effort in, then you should be rewarded for winning in those circumstances. And then there's also kind of some external ways that the kind of money enters the ecosystem, which is through things such as sponsorships. So the divisions will hopefully be sponsored by different companies, as well as the cup competitions, and maybe even the kind of Footium National Stadium will have some sponsors for that as well. And I think it's kind of quite a cool next stage of advertising, is advertising in the metaverse, and it's exciting to see some companies that are already quite open to that. And it'll be really good to see who's the first kind of few sponsors for Footium division. So if anyone's looking to sponsor some metaverse football leagues, then you can get in touch with me on Twitter.
That's really, really cool. I can imagine the thing you talked about earlier, the studio, is streaming that on match days, seeing what's going on, having commentary, checking out all the teams that are rising up and down the ranks. This is like the new Super Saturday. This is great. What sort of, we've talked about the NFTs and some of the reward mechanics, but I think there's also a token potentially in store as well. Have you thought about what kind of role that will have in the ecosystem and how that plays a role?
Yeah, so we're currently kind of finalizing the plans for the token. I'm not sure how much I can speak about it yet, but the idea is that it'll be a utility token that will be used within the game for certain kind of features in the game and unlocking certain things. So that's the approach with the token so far, but there will definitely be some news on that, obviously before the game launches. But yeah, I was wondering if you had any approaches to running your club as DeversiFi.
Yeah, so we've got our Twitter account set up, and we're slowly starting to think about baiting some of the other teams. But obviously, we don't want to put too much out there until we've had a look at some of the tactics and figured out exactly what we've bitten off. Because I've got a feeling there's going to be some really professional players out there. We're really excited about participating in the next stage of the beta testing. I think that'll be a really good opportunity for us to get started. But DeversiFi is taking this very seriously, and we've got plans to upgrade our stadium and acquire some players. Maybe acquire some more real estate. So anybody who's thinking about competing in our league should be very afraid.
Yeah, good to hear. It's been great seeing some rivalries already form, and especially as you said earlier, like the different towns, different teams within certain towns and cities have started forming, sometimes against each other, sometimes working together as well. I know there's the town of Weld has about 9 clubs, and that are all very up for a rivalry. So interesting to see how that kind of works out.
That's awesome. Thanks, George. And where's the best place for people to find out about Footium? Where should they go?
Yeah, I think the Twitter at Footium, jump in the Discord as well. And I think that's probably the main 2 places. That's where you'll find our community, and you'll have a chance to kind of learn more about Footium, ask any questions you might have, and also any questions as well. You can find me on Twitter through I've retweeted some Footium stuff before. So yeah.
And how are you feeling about the League of Legends tournament so far?
Yeah, so we had our first game yesterday, which didn't go quite as we wanted it to, but I think we learned a lot of lessons as a team. One of the team members wasn't able to join the voice chat, which caused a few bits of confusion. So hopefully next time we'll be more sorted on that front, and our team composition was a bit scuffed. So we're going to work on that, get some practice games in this week, and come back for the big W against DeversiFi next week.
Amazing. We're not afraid at all, but rumor has it that our team has been training for weeks to get ready for this tournament. So no pressure.
Fair enough.
I think that's all we've got time for. We'll be back shortly with the next game. So it's a big match. It's Polygon versus Ampleforth. So please stay tuned for that. And I think we'll be back in about 5 minutes or so. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up.
gamers, how's it going? And crypto lovers, supporters, my name is Proof of Proofcast, and you are watching DeFi Legends, first ever esports tournament brought to you by DeversiFi, featuring a $40,000 prize pool with some of the most exciting talks and events happening in the crypto space. With that being said, next to me is Salt Spreader. How we doing today, Salt?
Pretty good, but looking pretty solid for today. So one thing we are going to do, for this draft at least, is proxy picks, which is something that we've done before, or I don't think we've done before, but it's been done before. So they're going to pick champions and message the other captain what the actual champ is, because not everyone owns every champion in the game. So if you see a weird champ, most likely it's just going to be a proxy pick for something else, because you can't draft in order if you don't have every champ.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to also clarify that if that is something that both teams want to do, or if it's just going to be easier to for them pick their champions through the client. You know, obviously the client. We did talk about how teams can pick champions if they use a third-party website, for example, the Draft LOL or Pro Draft for that matter. But with that said, though, you know, there's a lot now, maybe confusion for teams, or maybe a want for teams as we go into the next few weeks to use a third-party website like the Draft LOL, like the Pro Draft. So as we do wait for them to now kind of go into it, we're going to start the draft. So, you know, yesterday we did see a bunch of meta picks getting picked here. And surprisingly, Yasuo was picked. And we had a lot of fun yesterday. DeversiFi's team came out of the gates, guns blazing, and played a perfect game through their carry, Wolfman, a.k.a. Euclid. Cryptonovae also had a great performance yesterday, and they did play that Yasuo that I just mentioned. So let's see how the games today are going to pan out. In Group B, we have Polygon versus Ample Fourth, and DeversiFi versus Pocket Network. So the first game of today is going to be Polygon versus Ample Fourth. So we're going to dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen, and here we go. Oh, there it is. I got your bid. They're not even ready. Oh, they're ready now. So yeah, we're seeing the Ari ban. We're seeing now Mordekaiser and Jax off the table.
And most likely those bans are just targeted towards Give Me That Cash. Probably the highest ranked player in both teams. So looking very, very solid there, and very solid split pushers, very solid stat checkers. So if those champs get rolling, and they can get rolling if you are just able to skill gap them, it's really scary to deal with. And the Grave's just a really solid pick as well, especially in this current meta. But Arya and Nautilus, good picks taken off as well, and also not super hard to pilot.
Yeah, speaking of super hard to pilot, you know, we did talk about this yesterday. Players playing the champions they are best at, like the comfort picks that we talked about. For me, it's always the support. Oh, that's the B1 Jinx. Yesterday we saw that happen. You know, guess who won? DeversiFi won through their Jinx. Shout out to Euclid for a great performance there. And that Thresh yesterday was doing a lot of work. But here we go. Give Me That Cash. I'm assuming they're not playing Ashe top, so maybe they'll be able to switch it around. But
it's definitely going to be a switch.
Yeah, the Ashe, you don't want to be a top lane Ashe. For sure.
I mean, the old League tutorial made you build Thornmail on Ashe, so maybe it was viable back then. But Ashe Lulu, I just don't really think it's that great of a lane. Ashe has decent poke, but really does like to play with an engaged support because she is able to make it easier for the skill shots to land.
Yeah.
And realistically, she's not a hyper carry. And when you do have that Lulu, you want to have a hyper carry with you. You want to have something like that just rolling around, making things happen that way. But Xin Zhao also going to be picked up, a tier 1 jungler, one of the strongest in the game right now. Definitely something to always be fearful of. But I'm not sure if this is actually a Lux. It could be a Jinx Lux lane. It does give them a little bit more lane pressure if they are going to go for that. But, ooh, the Camille for Give Me That Cash, and that champion is so skill expressive, one of the best picks in the game. Very decent phase 1 if you can ban its counters in phase 2. So I guess they're just making sure they Give Me That Cash as a comfort pick, a solid pick, and just gonna play around that.
You know, I'm always excited to see a Xin Zhao game because you know what that means. We see maybe early blood spilled or early gank, maybe top to bot. We'll see if they're even going to prioritize Jinx here because Jinx wants to scale late, does not want to get... I mean, obviously, it'd be nice to get the early kills, but you don't have to really worry too much about it. The Lux is going to be poking the bot lane if this Lux is going to be going to the bot lane. So... you know, I feel like for Ashe and Lulu, they have to play it safe and maybe devise a plan to kind of counter this bot lane in order to kind of make that 2v2 happen, maybe have that 3v2, make a commotion in the bot lane, or they could draft a jungler to play towards this Camille, right? The Camille is a good anti-carry and could lock you down, so getting it fed, especially early on, could mean that you snowball good into the late game.
One pick I really do like with the Camille is actually the Galio. So you pick that in the mid lane,
Ooh,
and it can just
yeah.
roam around, lock them down with the Hextech Ultimatum and the Hero's Entrance together. They just are CC'd for 10 years, don't get to play the game, and they're just dead in that little box of doom.
Yeah.
But Alawi and Daria's going to be taken off the table. Both those champs pretty solid into the Camille. She can't really get those short trades because they can force an extended trade. Feels pretty bad if you're playing into that, but we just see Fizz taken off the table. I guess that's not Sir Jam Master's favorite champ to play against, but the Jarvan fan is respectable. It's very solid into a mobile carries like the Logs, like the Jinx. So getting rid of that means it's a little easier to play around with, but we'll see if I want to see Hecarim. I think Hecarim is a solid pick here. But no, it's going to be the Zoe picked up here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the Zoe. I mean, I was about to say how yesterday I said good morning to you all in the West and East Coast here. But besides Zoe players, but because you know it's the same thing as Yasuo. But yesterday we did see the Yasuo. Now today's edition of kind of like those spicy picks is going to be the Zoe, very mobile champion in the mid lane, pretty much a threat, a 1v9 threat, especially against squishies. It's going to be the Vayne top lane.
And I really hate the Vayne top. It's super punishable if you pick a solid jungler, and the best way to deal with a champ like Vayne in that top lane is to just gank it over and over and over again, so your top laner just scales up for free, and the Vayne doesn't really get to play the game. But this is really a skill matchup here. If the Camille is able to time her hook shot while the Vayne is casting her E, she will still be able to get it off afterwards. It's like a little buffer mechanic that you can do with Camille that some players don't recognize, but I mean, give me that Cassius Diamond, so expecting some good things out of that. But we'll see if this Vayne pick does pay off, because if it loses the lane, that's really scary. Because it needs to win this lane. Camille will provide a lot more in team fights. So this is the proxy pick we're talking about. So they pick for each other, and now they're just going to relaunch the draft and grab the champions in the role they're supposed to be.
Yeah, because this is essentially what Draft LOL does and Pro Draft that in later weeks we will use, because a lot of players are now finding comfort in that. Nobody really wants to, because you know, Riot is an indie company, right? So they don't have the Draft LOL built tool where you could draft like the pros. Especially you want to draft a champion that you own, and in the order is very important. So anyway, we're gonna get this started back. In the meantime, though, from the comp, we did see the Ashe and Lulu bot lane into that possible Jinx and Lux. What can we expect from that?
I mean, I just feel like that's a really weak bot lane draft. That's just a Omega weak side bot lane that you've drafted on the side of Ampleforth. It doesn't really do anything. It scales all right. The Lulu is what amplifies that scaling, but Ashe, especially up against a champ like the Jinx, just doesn't have that same DPS output, doesn't have that range. The Jinx is just going to be able to rain fire, but it's all on that Camille. They're putting all their eggs in that basket. And if this Camille's allowed to pop off, it's definitely something.
All right, I mean, for us and the viewers out there right now, let us encourage these brave players that showed up today. Maybe they'll get all the way to the top. The journey is still starting. This is week 1, so things are still new. Things are still, you know, experimental here between the teams. A lot of scrimming needs to still happen for that synergy to be built up. But, you know, for the rundown, it's 4 teams in each group. Each team plays 6 games in total in that 6 weeks, and then playoffs start. So within that time and playoffs, teams need to kind of find their identity here. They need to find what's kind of working, what's not working. Granted, they will play against the same team twice.
And that does just give them options to see how things roll, maybe test some things out in the earlier weeks when games don't matter as much. But once you reach that halfway threshold, you only have 6 games, so you realistically can only give up like 2 games in order to have a solid shot at playoffs or guarantee yourself, because it's only top 2. So even if you end in a positive record, if there's a team that's really high in the standings, like 6-0, it's going to be really, really difficult to actually make that playoff threshold. And
Well,
Okay, so now that we're seeing the comps actually go through,
yeah, they're going through, but most importantly, gamers out there who are waiting for this, and Salt and I we're talking about this behind the scenes. You can win weekly prizes, by the way. So if you predict who wins the series each game day, however, the polls do close before the day starts, so you got to be quick with it. So go on over to Discord to not miss that opportunity and the chance of the polls. They'll open up for next week, next Wednesday and Thursday. Because for that they are already closed. It's all good though. I know some of you are already wondering what color Lamborghini you're gonna get. It's all good. Me, I'm a Toyota Corolla guy myself. I got the windows tinted. We're all chilling. With that said, though, they did start the draft against Salt. You did point that out. So let's just jump right in it.
so I feel like Ampleforth is actually drafted where they're supposed to, but on the other side of things, I do think that it's just going to be a bunch of trades on the side of I'm not sure what the other team's name is, but for the most part, though, the draft looks really solid. You have great ways to play around this Camille, especially if it is that Vayne top, like I suspected. If it's the Jinx top, that's even worse. You're more susceptible to getting jumped. But as I was saying, it's Zeri instead of Ashe.
Ooh, okay, well
I
that's
really like that. I don't like the trade there.
So is this totally
I prefer
different?
having a Jinx. I prefer having a Zeri on my comp.
So what was that first draft that we saw here? Because a lot of these champions
That was the
look
proxy.
different. So if you want to
give me that
explain it
cash.
further.
Gotcha. So not everyone has all the champions. So they're going to pick a champ in the in replacement of that other champion and just message the other team what they're going to actually grab up here. But I like the Zeri. I don't like it paired up with the Lulu. I just think they have no lane presence anymore, and that just feels really, really terrible.
A lot different.
Yeah.
But I do like the Zac. I do like the Zac Celt. Like, we don't. It's not every day that we wake up, or it's not every day that we get ready to see Zac in, which is going to be really interesting in this elo, especially because it's there's a mismatch going on. It's very casual, and a lot of the teams, a lot of players, especially when starting out, or even veterans, they don't know how to generally play around Zac. Yes, you need CC to like kind of lock him down. Yes, his E is telegraph. But still, Zac is that force in nature to be dealt with. He's very tanky. And on the side of Ampleforth, they need that, right? They need that Philip Sachs on this tanky champion into the Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao might fall off, but Zac is only going to get bigger and better.
Definitely. So they may not be in order, but what I do think the draft is Vayne top, Cho'Gath mid with the Xin Zhao, and the Jinx Lux bot lane. And Cho'Gath mid, pretty solid. Has great sustain in lane, especially if you take some laning runes like cookies, biscuits, anything like that. Time over tonic as well. You can sustain your way through lane against champions like the Malzahar, who has great pushing power. But this Cho'Gath here is just going to scale like a monster, and it's something to worry about. But they have a Camille though, and that's just going to be really, really strong here into a lot of their champs. It's just going to have to struggle in this lane if the Zac is not perma-ganking it.
Zac doesn't want to be permaganking too much though, because the League Observer is very mobile as well. So if Zac decides to okay, let Zeri do her own thing in the bot lane into the Vayne, and into the Jinx here, I think he could go top lane. Like we did talk about that Vayne, right? Vayne is kind of like double-edged sword. If you are getting perma-ganked here and the Camille just getting mega fed, it's going to be harder for World or Captain to get back into the game, especially granted that Camille late game scales very nicely, has a Hextech ultimatum for the team fights, could lock you down, and just look at the amount of CC they have on the side of Ampleforth. No wonder they wanted to draft a comp like this that's good front to back, keeping the Zeri alive with Wild Growth, and the Malzahar, just literally whoever walks up to him or the ADC just throws out the ultimate, right? So in this case, it's very likely it's going to be Cathedral.
And that's something to mention here. Having that QSS tax on the other side, that's 1,300 gold down the drain. That's a BF sword. That's a lost chapter, and it's gonna have to go on either the Vayne or the Jinx here. Either of them are gonna have to buy it, depending on who's the priority target here. The other's not really super necessary, but especially as an immobile carry, you're gonna need it. So we'll see how it does end up here, who pays the tax, and if that tax is enough to actually offset the value of that Malzahar ulti.
Yeah, the Malzahar ulti is super valuable, especially in team fights later on, and somebody has to put a stop to that. But you know, on the other side, you got Lux, Sir James Master, playing in the mid lane. I'm sorry, is that going to be a Lux mid lane or is that going to be Cho'Gath mid lane? Did we talk about that?
Cho'Gath mid lane.
Yeah, because it makes more sense. It makes more sense. It's not season 9 anymore. No Cho'Gath support. But anyway, we're going to take a short break. I hope that you guys already did predict your teams. Obviously, right now we're just able to find out who will take the dub for the first game today in the week 1 Group B. With that said, we'll be right back. We're going to jump right into the game and bring you guys all the fun. Don't go anywhere.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up.
Oh, I guess I caught that right in the moment. Did you guys hear that? Welcome to Summoner's Rift, and welcome. Today is Thursday, so we're just gonna get loaded in here, waiting for people, to kind of call the shots here. I don't think we're gonna get any early invade shenanigans happening, but with that said, though, my eyes are gonna be glued to the pathing from the jungle coming out here. Philip Sachs on the Zac. Once he hits that level 3. Gonna probably either have to make 2 choices at the crossroads of going to top or bot for that early gank.
And we'll see what happens here, but I mean, judging by strength of players here, I just feel like it's gonna go over to red side. Ampleforth has a really solid lineup going into this. Not a huge weak link that's super exploitable here, but one weak link that I do think is pretty exploitable in the bot lane of blue side is going to be Sir Jam on the Lux. It's a very squishy champion, very easy to abuse. So definitely something to worry about here. And we'll see if their positioning is going to cost them a lot. But overall, just standard 5-point from both sides, so no one's going to know where no information gathered by either side. But realistically, you should be able to tell that the top lane is leashing, which is really weird. I don't know why Zach's starting top side. I would have liked to see Zach start bot side or start Raptor's path up top side and just go for an early level 2 or something along those lines.
Yeah. But maybe
really
they're
going
just like,
for it.
okay, I need that top side leash because I am actively wanting to make myself go all the way to the bot lane and maybe just get this Jinx sent back to the fountain. So maybe that's the plan here, or even that level 3 gank in the mid lane, right? We see that Majoras is playing the Malzahar. So Malzahar does have that poke a little bit over to the Cho'Gath, but they're about the same, so you shouldn't expect... there it is, that Q right there. Cho'Gath just chugs those out all day.
The Cho'Gath has a lot of base numbers, and that's something you should have, or a lot of mid laners don't really recognize when they play up against that champ. It's not really picked there. But because he's a tank, he has to have solid base numbers, otherwise he will not do anything come late game, or come even early game or mid game in general, so you expect here. But the Zac is actually pathing up towards this top side here, but just not looking for the gank. Wave might be a little big here, but Iknutar just trying to shove this wave in, but it could be a 1v1 here.
Oh, yeah. That could be the moment. Philip Sachs not even level 3 yet. Majoras is the team captain, and he feels like he's getting out-traded there. He's going to pop his potion, stay alive there and healthy. Flaccid in the meantime. He is as Leona main, by the way, so playing this Lulu. I wonder how he's going to perform now. Ooh, that was super close. If Feast was available on Iknutar, that would have been a kill right there.
Great trade, and Cho'Gath is actually going to be able to get a lot of mana back from last hitting those little minions there. That's just how the passive works, so a lot of great lane sustain going forward, but just a lot of poke coming through, and Majora's does have to take that early base, which is going to feel pretty bad, especially as the Malzahar, who wants to just shove in, try and get enough gold for that lost chapter, but that's what happens when you go the Dark Seal. You don't have that mana sustain, you're going to run out of mana.
Exactly.
And
you need mana. as a mage, especially if you're trying to poke your opponent, you gotta have mana. So the Dark Seal is for snowballing, and I feel like Mojaris kind of thought about it for a second and was like, okay, let me just go. Yeah, he's going tier now. But what can we expect now that we're seeing the pathing from Philip Sachs? He did not have a successful gank yet. That level 3 opportunity has gone. Xin Zhao is pretty steadily making his way towards the top side, and obviously Give Me That Cash has to be careful. Doesn't have flash. This is a TP and Ignite Camille here we're talking about.
So a lot of Camille's don't actually go that flash anymore. They want to have that extra combat power with the Ignite, and it's very easy to escape ganks from the Xin Zhao because of how you can buffer your hook shot. As long as you play it properly, you should be able to dodge, or even if you get knocked up, you'll be able to use your hook shot mid-cat, or just before it hits, and you'll be pulled over to the wall anyways, so definitely not... I don't think the flash is super necessary. There's not too many skill shots that you have to flash as the Camille. You can dodge them with your R, you can dodge them with your hook shot. There's not much to worry about here, so it's fine to take the Ignite there. The main thing that surprises me here is the Conqueror coming in from the Camille. It does help her a lot out in the late game, but it's going to help make her suffer just a little bit in this early game. I would have liked to see potentially fleet footwork here just to help her sustain through this lane, but she's CSing solidly, so it's definitely something. I guess just confidence coming in from Cash up in that top side here. I mean, that's really surprising, the fact that the Camille is winning this CS war, and the wave is also pushing towards her as well, so it's not the greatest position for this Vayne. Ooh, but they're going in.
World Sephiroth goes in, and those are the autos. Here comes the Zac all the way from downtown with the brush there, and the Q does land. That's the first blood, barely keeping Give Me That Cash alive. The drop, Ignite was dropped there to get that kill, so nicely done. Not level 6 yet on that Camille, but they don't even need that. 2v1 is all they could possibly ask for there.
But that's both summoners down for the Vayne, so this 1v1 just becomes a lot harder. TP is available for this Camille, so she can just get back to lane very, very fast. That's what you expect here for the most part, just her being able to run back here. And as she gets those items, she is going to be able to deal a lot of damage. She can half health a squishy with a Q at level 9. So
it's
all about this
that
1v1
dangerous.
on the top side.
That looked dangerous, Salt. The interaction there, you know, World Sephiroth almost had that kill on Gimme That Cash, and it was a 2v1 for the Vayne, and Vayne is not level 6 yet. Now hitting that level 6, a lot of players are obtaining the alties right now on the map, so things are getting a lot more interesting. Let's take a check the timers. 4 minutes till the other drag spawns. The first one was for the taking. Polygon did secure that one, so Ampleforth have to kind of like position themselves better. You know, yes, they got the first blood. What's their priority going to be? Is it going to be Rift when it spawns, or are they going to have priority in the bot lane in order to take another Drake?
They have the stronger top side, and they also have a lot of kill pressure with that Malzahar ultimate. So I really do expect them to play towards this top side, grab that first early Rift, and give a good amount of that gold over to the Camille, or maybe just try and break mid tower so they have more control over the enemy jungle. We'll see what their plan of action coming up is, but, I mean, not too much to worry about here. Both teams scale relatively well, but this Zeri is actually just sort of demolishing this Jinx when it comes to CS. Sure, losing the trades, but look at that CS differential. It's 26 in 7 minutes. That's a huge difference. That just means you get your items a lot faster, and think about it this way.
500
a
gold.
Kill is worth about 15 CS. So the fact that she's down, or almost up 30 CS, that means she's basically 2 kills up ahead. She's having a great time here in this bot side.
Yeah, this is the power of Zeri the carry, right? So we're seeing that firsthand, and a lot of other instances here, we might say that, yeah, the Jinx is going to have an easier laning phase. Just because Flaccid is playing the Lulu, it makes it so that League Observer could walk up to trade, could walk up and get stunned like that. It's not going to be the end of the world for... Actually, he's going to turn it around. League Observer goes in. Captain now under a lot of trouble. Exhaust comes through. Flaccid as well, not level 6 yet. The Wild Gold hasn't been obtained. And there it is. The binding comes through. The flash used to get away. League Observer is just poking a lot of damage. But they have to be careful.
They're able to shove in that wave and get a base, so it's not terrible. Zeri ultimate is not a super long cooldown either. So you take those every day of the week, you force out the flash, force out the heal. Every single summoner on the side of Polygon has been used there. And the Zeri is up almost 50 CS. She's in such a great position to carry this game here.
Flaccid doesn't have the Ignite anymore. Surge and Master also opted to use the Exhaust there on the Ahri to just keep her on that lockdown. So they're not going to have summoners. Actually, double summoners off for the bot laners right now on the side of Polygon. So they have to be concerned about that. Zach almost pulling off that gank. But pay attention to what happened over the top side. The Cathedral made his way there. And I don't think anybody is going to be able to spot him there just yet.
It's going to be a lane gank here, and the Camille also has no flash, but the ward's coming through, and look at that damage coming in from Cash, just how it is. Vayne is really an obnoxious top laner to deal with, and like I said, all this Camille has to do is just try and get the lane phase. She has a kill, she's up 10 CS, but the wave position is so terrible.
The hook shot. The hook shot is a money shot here for Gimme That Cash. Not having the flash, you could just use that if you position it and time it right. So, you know, even in close situations, if you mistime that hook shot and you do get engaged on by the Xin Zhao, Cathedral is able to knock you up, and World Sephiroth is able to finish you off. So the Camille also still has to be careful getting that first blood. She needs to translate that to maybe some mid-game snowballing effect.
Definitely. And both of these... good force of flash there. An unforced error coming through. Yeah. Wait, this could just be a flash R. Nope. Come on, you gotta go for that play there, my friend.
Speaking of play, we got a bot lane double knock up. Here comes Flipsap strong, making a commotion in the bot lane, and the ulti comes through from the Zac. That's a double from Philipsax.
Now, unfortunately, the Zac is going to be the one that gets both those kills. Sure, it gives him a little more agency in the jungle here, but you really should just be giving those over to the Zeri. She's the one who's going to be able to shred through everyone, AoE, all that splash damage. So I don't really like the Zac taking that kill. I don't think it's necessary. You're not supposed to be super farmed or super fed as a Zac anyways, and those kills were very easy to give over.
But it's cool to have the kills, Salt. It's cool to have the kills, you know? If you're putting in the work, Philipsac was like, okay, I'm putting in the work here. Let me, you know, get the spoils. So that double kill was really, really nice. The timing of it was really cool. This elastic slingshot to kind of go in on the two players there. And the problem with Captain is he's not that mobile, right? On the Jinx. And speaking of that, ult for ult trade in the mid lane, but here comes the support, Flaccid, to help out Majora's. But in the meantime, the Cathedral is there. Flashes for the kill under the turret. Nicely done. Elastic slingshot over the wall comes in. Flip Sacks now 2v2 with the help of Flaccid. Can they make anything happen? Mega that Jinx Rocket does not connect. Ignutar is now very low. The Zeri, the carry is here. And give me that cash. The Hextech Ultimatum gives the kill over League Observer with the 2 back-to-back. Flaccid taken very low by that Lux ulti. But that is a beautiful play coming from Ampleforth.
They pick up a lot of kills there, get their Camille another assist. Vayne now is picking up that CS lead, though. But can they take this dragon? It does a lot of damage. Uh-oh.
You have to be careful. Philipsack, yes, does have the passive. Gets the pull back on Sir Master with that Q. While League Observer is finding damage. Flashes for the kill and finishes him off. Sir Jam Master is now history. But Zac is here. They need to help him. He can't solo the Drake just yet.
He also has no smite here, and it's Hextech Dragon. That...
Oh, there it is. Ignutar is here with the Q. This is getting blood. It's getting violent up in here. Zac passive is going to proc because Ignutar just got that. He's that good. League Observer trying to buy some more time for the Zac to get back into the game, but it's not going to be enough.
But unfortunately, Cho'Gath does not actually get that V-stack because it's not really considered a death. So, I mean, he does get the kill, but unfortunately no big Cho'Gath just yet. Will be there in a little bit, though. But Xin Zhao just going to get all that play money to himself. And unfortunately, it wasn't gifted over to either the Vayne or the Cho'Gath or the Jinx. I mean, any little bit of gold on these carries is definitely going to be helpful, but Cho'Gath's actually really strong. 2-1-0, also 109 CS, so farming very well here. 13 minutes into the game. But Majora's might be dead here.
Yeah, Majora's, what are you doing, my friend? Alone in Talman, he is a level ahead. But the Catrilo, once he gets close to you, gonna pour that damage all in. And now the traded lanes here. Meanwhile, this Vayne still looking strong too, and she only scales up from here. Uh-oh.
I could look this.
I mean, yeah, but Ignutar has to be... Oh, Ignutar does not have the flash, so yes, this could be the kill from Zac. Everfrost for the stop, but over the wall comes the money shot, the hook shot. Give me the cash.
That was pretty great there. Camille gets that kill, now has 2 kills to her name. And you want to just give everything to this Camille right now. The Zeri's already fed on her own, a natural huge lane advantage for herself, naturally on her own. Hasn't even been killed just yet. The Zac playing pretty solidly, especially considering he is not the strongest early game jungler in the game. 2-1-5 though, solid KDA rolling for himself. But the Xin Zhao is just permanently invading. I was able to take that blue buff on the first rotation as well, and might head straight there now. Ooh, you see some pinks coming through, but they know they can't really deal with that right now. The 2v2 of the Vaynes and Zhao is just a lot stronger than Zac Malzahar. No Mythic just finished yet.
Oh, League Observer goes in with a lightning crash, and now Wild Growth, and that might be the double back-to-back. Sticky end for the bot lane duo from Polygon as Zamp full fourth. They are going kind of at this point in the driver's seat. 9 of 4 and 14 minutes on the clock. 25k to 21k. That's 4k gold lead for the Zeri in the bot lane too. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, absolutely double amount of gold compared to Captain.
Most of the gold lead on the side of them is actually on that Zeri. So she is going to be carrying this game. She's 5-0, sitting on a good amount of gold as well. She can either buy a Zeal or a Tiamat. I think either or is pretty solid in this position, but I think you really want a lot of that splash damage just to be able to deal damage as everyone walks up, walks forward. That's how the Zeri works. She's able to apply on hit if it hits multiple targets with her Q. So always be worried about that, but they're going in on Jinx.
Yeah, they found an opportunity. Philipsax just waited there for a long time for that play to happen, and kind of pays off for them at the end there. Give me that cash. Also has to be careful. Where is the Xin Zhao? You don't see him on the map. You don't know where he is. Got to be careful on the 1v1s.
I don't know if they can dive that. Camille has Hextech Ultimatum, has the Ignite available, so I don't know if this play is the play to look for. It's hard to dive a Camille if she can dodge everything that matters.
Yeah. Maybe they should have made that play over here onto the mid lane, Mojaras.
Maybe they're just trying to get this top tower here, but Camille can wave. Oh, she's going in.
Yeah, they're going on 2v1. Now World had to pop the ulti. Give me that cash. Just going to simply walk away. And now they're going to collapse onto the Cho'Gath. Poor Cho'Gath in the mid lane. He's going to get chucked away there. League Observer finding the 7th kill. Are we going to have double-digit Zeri here?
That's 9 KP out of 11. She's in just such a strong position. She's participated in almost every kill of the game, apart from those topside ones. So this Zeri's just been moving around the map, making things happen mid and bot. Now just needs to rotate this lead over up to the top side. They've already gotten 2 towers to their name, looking to maybe try and make that a third here, and no root landing either. So there's not even a play to be made by Polygon.
Polygon also have to note that, you know, at this point they're kind of running out of options. Their strong side was the mid lane, Ignutar on the Cho'Gath. However, that same champion just died 3 times in the entirety of the game. So they've been seeing a lot more of the green screen, or not the green screen, the gray screen, than seeing kills, which in this point in time is super important, right? League Observer does have that 700 gold bounty on his head. Give me that cash has 150 gold bounty, and I feel like for Ignutar, he's just been in the lane for the duration of this game. He hasn't rotated that much. His turret is gone now, so now it's going to incentivize him to rotate, as we do see the drag spawning.
I mean, these objective bounties are going to help out a little bit, but Dragon's up right here. They have there's the objective bounty being claimed, but they might kill out.
Philipsax is so good, man. He's just finding the stuns and the elastic slit shots. And we talked about the Zac being a nuisance here. We're seeing that firsthand. Ults come through, and the team fight looks immaculate here on the side of Ampleforth. And after that, couple of picks back to back. That's like 3 for nothing. So we're going to see an easy objective take from them in the bot side neutral objective.
One Drake closer to that soul point, and this area is just super fed. Finish the Runon's Hurricane, working towards that Titanic Hydra. Personally, I do like the Titanic Hydra a little bit better. It's a safer option. It gives you more damage up front.
Yeah.
In like those 1v1 duels, you do a little bit more that way just because of how strong that item is. But the Runons does give you a lot of that team fight damage here, so definitely respectable there. And it's more of a selfless item to have. I think the Titanic's just a lot better. It gives you, or not a lot better in the 1v1, like I said. It's very tanky. It's 500 HP, a decent chunk of AD. I think you'll be getting, like, it's 30 plus 16 at this point in the game.
Yeah.
So, 46. So, a decent chunk of AD. It's definitely no eye edge or anything like that, but the splash damage is where it's at. You're doing so much damage that way. Unfortunately, Camille's not able to steal away this blue buff, but does waste some of that Xin Zhao's time, because it does reset.
Speaking of resets, right? Captain, who has been playing the Jinx and feels like it's not a champion yet, hasn't even gotten mythic item. Everybody else got the mythic item. It feels like, to me, Lux might get the mythic item first, but here we go. A collapse happening over the top side. Ignitar trying to evade the oncoming attacks, making a bolt for the door. The Cathedral is here. Mega Death Rocket does not connect. The Camille is good for 1 kill. Give me that catch. Has to be careful. Getting burnt. The Cathedral is here. The E does not connect. Give me that catch. Is running away into a Malzahar. You got to be careful, as Captain is here. He's level 9 only, so he's just a minion at that point, a caster minion. He could just join us here on the sidelines. But World Sephiroth here on the 1v1. This is kind of the point where I'm talking about the Vayne. Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of that, League Observer goes in with a lightning crash. Gets stunned up, though, so can't even get that kill there. Unlucky.
It was close. It was very close, but it does force that flash from the Jinx though, so it is something. But
man, this Zac is on fire. Into this Vayne, like, I wouldn't be playing this confident, but he has 2 kills and 10 assists. This Vayne has no kill participation whatsoever, only CS to her name. So is it going to be in time where we're going to see that Vayne pop off in the late game? Especially into the Zac, that is ideal.
But I just think there's so many threats to worry about here. The Zeri can one-tap, the Camille can one-tap as well. The Zac's also doing some decent damage as well, and the lockdown, I'm not seeing a single QSS yet, but so far there hasn't been too much threat on either the Jinx or the Vayne, mostly because neither of them really do anything just yet. They need a little bit more gold in their back pockets, so gotta wait for that to come through. Oh, wow.
Ooh, nice. Nicely done. Philipsax goes in there. You know, now buying enough time for the rest of the team to kind of rotate, as Ignitar has to be careful. They do spot them out on the ward, so Ampleforth are spotted. The intel has been shown. Wild Growth popped and used. It's going to keep League Observer alive for the longest time possible. This feels like torture at this point. League Observer going in for the double and now looking good on pace for the third. Gets the third one as well, but is shut down by Captain instantly there. Philipsak's going to force out the flash from Sir Master. Sir Master throws out the bind. We'll be fine. And that's the beauty of Lux. Once you land that bind, you're chilling.
And that's just a great team fight coming in. They caught them out of the choke, did a lot of damage. Sure, this area did give over that shutdown to the Jinx, but I mean, I don't think it matters. She's just so far behind. Not even remotely close in items there, trying to finish up anything she can. She has to build this glass cannon to try and do something, trying to match the power level of this Zeri, but she's almost 3 items. She's so strong. It's just really scary at this point. Not much to do.
I mean, they could do something at this point. They could huddle up, maybe force some picks. They do have that Q knockup from the Cho'Gath. They do have that engage. So to me, Polygon are playing more like a pick comp with that Lux as well. But, you know, pick up into a team fight comp like the Ampleforce team comp here, where they are good front to back, right? They just are so good at peeling for League Observer. We saw that firsthand. Like, you really cannot get close to him. So a pick comp, what then needs to do is trying to actually pick a player like this Zeri, but doing so successfully. It just becomes so harder when it's like the most mobile champion right now, and Flaccid is piloting Lulu, which is like literally the best support you could ask for to be able to peel.
Zeri is also so tanky, especially with this build setup here. 2 health items. It's so hard to just pick the Zeri, especially since she, like you said, has a lot of mobility, and she is the biggest threat here. The Camille is just there to provide that Hextech ultimatum and maybe burst down a carry, but the Zeri is where the DPS is at.
Oh, this is
It's
a
a little
great
greedy,
engage. Good angle from Ampleforce to go in here as they are finding the kills back to back. The rest of Polygon are dropping like flies at this point. Double kill for the League Observer again. He's on a roll. Hit that double digits 5 minutes ago, feels like. And now Hextech Ultimate comes through. World and now alone on a 1v3. Has nowhere to go. Almost made that happen on the 1v1. Give me that catch, however. Using that Hextech Ultimatum, help the Malzahar get the 3rd kill in the game. League Observer, the Wild Growth is there, and that's what we're talking about. The peel coming through, the slows coming through from Flaccid. It just makes it virtually impossible to get to that Zeri.
Lulu is one of the strongest scaling supports in the game. It's just that her lane phase is just basically non-existent, especially up against a champ like the Lux. But they were just able to win this lane, and I think it's mostly just a skill gap there, or experience gap, really. We didn't see that Lux walking up very aggressively. It was mostly just them naturally winning the lane on their own. So there were no junglers there in the vacuum for a while down on the bot side, and it was really up to this Lux to try and make things happen, because supports matter a lot more in lane than the actual AD carry.
Yeah.
AD carry started coming online at 25 minutes, but this Zeri's already online because she got so fed.
I mean, it's still salvageable, I feel like, for Polygon. I mean, obviously, look at the gold bounties, the turret bounties. They got a couple of stuff on the map yet. Soul is for the taking. They could contest that, possibly. Cathedral could go smite 50-50. They could possibly... Yeah, possibly maybe the second Baron they could contest. Just hold off and make the defenses strong right now. And then later on, slowly get back into the game by picking. And, you know, I feel like League Observer is just miles ahead, so don't even bother. Don't even bother going for League Observer. Maybe try to go for Machoras there, right? Or at that point, Flaccid even. Just any type of kills. Ideally, you want someone with a gold bounty. Yep.
But unfortunately, like, they are scaling comp. They need their items to get online. Vade needs 2. Jinx needs 3. They're just not a great position.
Speaking of pick comp, Ampleforce was like, okay, let me guys show you what your comp is not doing, and our comp is doing way better right now. It's just literally using this Malzahar as a gatekeeper. Who comes closer, who doesn't. Flipsax goes in for the engage, and that's what they have, a great engage tool through the Zac. They're just zoning that right now. And for the
they're just looking to push through right here. This is actually going to be the longest game we've seen on stage here, but big fight.
Oh, that is a big fight. League Observer, we're staying alive. That Luxar comes through. That's doing a lot of damage. However, you gotta focus on the wave, as yeah, that's just gonna be game. It feels like if you're the last one to go golden, and under the turret, they are just absolutely shattered there. Sensational performance by League Observer. Absolutely outstanding performance by Flaccid to keep him alive. Give me that cash in the top lane, having a perfect game, not dying once. Philipsak's here with great engages, and let's not die now. But a great game in general for Ampleforth as they do take away the W here in the first game.
And I mean, just great plays coming in from the side of Ampleforth. They played very well. They did their jobs. They got fed in lanes they weren't supposed to, and just great plays overall. I'm really shocked that the Zeri and Lulu lane actually didn't end up winning, but I guess that just has to do with a little bit of 200 years plus Lulu being a great peel champ and just non-aggressive plays, because the only plays we saw were Zeri and Lulu aggressing on the Jinx and Lux, which is not what's supposed to be happening in that lane. So overall, just well played there. They recognized their points and power and just pushed forward that way, and great ganks from the Zac, just helping out this top lane quite a bit. And the bot lane, when their towers were broken, just guiding them that way.
Yeah, we'll see, you know, if what the improvement will be for Polygon for next week, at least, as they do have some downtime between now and then to maybe do some scrimming. They didn't look that bad. This is one of actually the closest games we've seen so far, right, in DeFi Legends. And this is week 1. Obviously, we haven't seen all the games yet. We got one more on the dock for us. And with that said, that's going to be our cue to toss it over to break. When we come back, it's going to be a good game, so stay tuned.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up, babe. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Just like the sunrise, we gonna light it up. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up, babe. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Just like the sunrise, we gonna light it up.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. The second game of today is going to be on DeversiFi versus Pocket Network. So before we get started into that one, let's do some reflections here today, Selt. You know, what do we think so far about the picks and bans? What do we think has been working for teams and just general macro-wise?
So we've been seeing just a lot of different styles of play here, considering yesterday and today. We see a lot of jungles being great care. We see a lot of top laners and ADCs carrying games as well. So there's no really solid meta that's been defined here in DeversiFi just yet. So we'll see what either side actually does opt for here. You could go for a strong side top or a strong side bot, but either or works. But one thing that has been consistent is the junglers being strong and playing well. Whichever team has the better jungler usually is the team that wins so far. So,
yeah, that has been.
I mean, this meta is very jungle-centric.
It is, despite some pros in the LCS tweeting that the jungle is at an all-time low. We've been seeing the other way around. Maybe in the Pro League it has been an all-time low, but everywhere else they are the playmakers. So something to watch out for here is what champion junglers are going to pick, right? And how they're going to start pathing. The Zac pathing that you questioned last game, Salt, it ended up paying off for them, right? The leash from the Camille over the top side, and he was just like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go bot and make some plays happen. And he goes to the mid lane, he goes to the bot lane, eventually making his way back to the top lane. What do we like seeing so far, and what should we expect here for the B1 pick? Because it has been so far some jinxes, and maybe I believe a jungler pick like the Jarvan, but so far it has been a jinx. So we're gonna see another one.
I mean, I really think you should just take the Zeri if you play it at all. The Zeri should be the pick. I think Zeri's just a lot, maybe not easier to execute on because you actually can miss, but she's a lot safer.
Yeah.
She has really long range, 825 on the Q. She's very tanky with her build Triforce Titanic Hydra. That's just a lot of HP, harder to punch through. And Sheen has such a great interaction. If you go the Ingenious Hunter, you basically have that Sheen for every single Q auto. So you're doing so much damage in such a short span of time. It's one of the most synergistic item to champion builds that I've seen in such a long time here. That Trinity Force actually plays huge dividends here with the Zeri. So, I mean, just pick the Zeri. I think if you don't play it, I think it's just worth picking up now. It's still strong even with the nerfs that do point toward crit. I just think having that safety and HP and splash damage is just a lot easier to play than the Jinx. You're also very mobile, which is something that a lot of the top two carries don't have. Jinx and Aphelios are very strong, yes, but they don't have mobility. They're forced to go Gale Force, and that's mobility on a 90-second cooldown unless you go Ingenious Hunter, which brings it down to maybe about 50 seconds-ish around that mark. So
Let me ask you a question before we start, and we will make a couple of more announcements. I mean, let me just do an announcement, right? You know, for people who are just joining in us right now and didn't hear it yesterday, I'll just give you guys a quick rundown. The Fi Legends is on EU West server where it is 8 teams, so 2 groups of 4, and to claim victory and ultimate bragging rights of who has the best League of Legends team in the crypto space right now. The teams that finishes first will also be rewarded big time, 12K. Second one is going to be 6K, and third place is just getting a pat on the back by Euclid. Just joking, and $2,000 to top that off. But yeah, before we get into the second game, you know, viewers like yourself could also win a lot. The rest of that prize pool is going towards the community, and that is the wonderful thing about DeversiFi. They want to incorporate community and, you know, get you guys engaged here with the games as well, predicting who will win before the games start. But with that said, let me pick your brain a little bit, Salt. You know, I did ask Euclid a lot of questions yesterday. Let me ask you one question. And it's not that tricky, chat. You could join in on this one too. Who has more skins, Kai'Sa or Sion? Without Googling.
okay. Kai'Sa has the 2 KDAs.
Here we go. If you ask an analyst, he already goes analyst
Battle
mode.
Angel, and the Dragon skin. So that's 7 plus base, so 8. Or sorry, 6 plus base, which is 8. And then Sion has Lumberjack, the Mecha one, Zombie. Kai'Sa has 6. I'm actually gonna go Kai'Sa. I think Kai'Sa has one more skin than Sion. Oh, wait,
Let me check chat. I haven't checked chat in a long time. Kaisa, people are saying. All right, well, you know what? That is true. But you know why that is interesting? Because Sion, it's literally very close. 7 and 8. Sion is one of the 17 OG champions, and he has less skins than Kaisa, dude. So, Kaisa is a newer champion compared to Sion, but you would think that, you know, whatever. But Black Frost Sion is the latest release in 2021. But with that said, though, let's jump right into the draft right now, as you guys are seeing it on the screens. Entropify versus Pocket Network. Now, the B1 pick is going to come from EFI here. Let's see if they will go with that Zeri route, or they will go with that Jinx route that we've been seeing time and time again.
and I think either or is just solid overall. But we see champs like the Zed being banned away, which makes sense. It's a great comfort pick, also a great jungler too. Something to always be worried about.
All right, the Zed ban comes through. You know, people are still scared of the Zed. We have been seeing that time and time again as well. One of the most banned champions. We have to do statistics. I would wonder if we could just look at the drafts from previous streams and then like compile it and see what people are banning. Because I've seen Mordekaiser a couple of times. I have seen the Zed a couple of times here. Just overall good champions individually if you are in a skill matchup that you don't want your enemy to have.
And I think Mordekaiser is just something that a lot of teams don't really like playing against because it does deny the jungler a lot of agency. You can't really gank that top lane. But we do see Ornn banned away, as well as Azeri, so it is going to be that first pick. Jinx, what's going to be the second carry that's picked up, though? Because it could be at Aphelios, but if you're not experienced on the champ, it doesn't really do all that much. You have to know what each gun does. You have to try and get your gun rotations on point. Otherwise, you don't really do much. So the Galio pick, it is a flex. Never mind, they just broke that flex instantly. I don't like that. They just picked mid and blind pick mid and pick support in one go. I don't think that's such a great idea.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously getting that Jinx B1 picked again, the Galio as a response, the Galio and Nautilus. So that's a lot of CC and a lot of heavy hitters here. You know, we're talking about the heavy set, maybe the light versus the lightweight. What's going on here, you know? But here is Maokai, yet another great ulti if you want to compare it against the Galio and Nautilus. It has a lot of CC as well and a lot of AoE coverage.
Yep. And the thing with Maokai, though, is he's just, unless you're playing him support, he's really, really weak in lane. He's very abusable. His passive doesn't really do much until around that level 13 mark. Ooh.
Yeah. What is that?
So this Aurelia pickup.
Ooh, that's going to be interesting. Aurelia game!
It can be a flex, and Aurelia is my favorite champion in the game. I love the way she plays. She's really, really fun. But that's a really, really high kill pressure bot lane. Nautilus Draven. That's really hard to deal with here, especially if you get caught out. The Draven can actually just put damage like crazy, especially up against a champ like the Jinx. That's why you... Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
That's fine too. I think Tristana's okay, but I really don't like it into champs like the Aurelia, like the Maokai. I just think it's very hard to pilot because you can just get instantly one-tapped here by the Aurelia, and there's just so much CC. You can get cancelled by the Maokai, and that's very important here. That jump is your most powerful spell as Tristana. It allows you to reposition. It also allows you to proc a stack of your explosive charge, but it can get cancelled here by the Maokai, by the Aurelia. Her Aurelia R actually has a slight displacement. It doesn't say it, but it will cancel channels. So, something to keep in note.
I don't know if these players are concerned about that, Salt, because, you know, we're seeing they're just running it and gunning it sometimes. They're having fun out here on the Rift and keeping this a little bit light, a little bit casual. But I gotta say, from the side of Pocket Network, I've seen a couple of these players before. I have seen these usernames, and I'll tell you this, they didn't come out here to play. And for those who already voted for Ampleforth and Pocket Network, you probably have a high chance right now to win the prizes that we have for the end of the week. So, you know, you got to go 2 for 2 here. Entropify as well might be able to take this win away. Just looking at their sheer dominance in terms of the champions, let's take them individually, right? Ruzi, who is the top laner, will not be playing the Jinx, obviously, but Ren will be. The Jinx, who Euclid was piloting on the first day, we saw that you could get double digits like the Zeri on it if you played with a good support. In this case, it's going to be the Maokai on the 2v2 in the bot lane. What are we thinking here?
And I think the Maokai is really solid here. It does provide a decent amount of poke with the saplings. So it can do some work here, but it's also very squishy in that support role. If it gets caught by a Nautilus hook, it's very scary. You can get one tap there, especially by Tristana, and the Nautilus base numbers are also really high as well. But it's going to be that Vigar picked up for the mid lane zone. Isn't really a top. And the Shen going to be locked in here.
Ooh, look at that. Shen, Stand United. Ultimate available. This is going to be a Veigar game. This is going to be actually a Veigar game. I love to see that. I think it's one of the most underrated picks here in this type of scenarios on 5v5s. Yes, you do see it in the lower elos, but it's a breath of fresh air for sure. Seeing that late scale AP kind of champion take over the game with an iron grip, right? So Nyx here playing to Tristana. I'm assuming the mid laner is going to be the Galio at the end of the day, right? So we might see the players switch up, but I don't know when. Hopefully sometime soon.
Maybe they're just not an LCS order.
Yeah, maybe they're just not an LCS order. That makes a lot of sense. Viego jungle here, though, into Diana. What are we thinking about that one?
Viego definitely wins the 1v1, but Diana provides a lot to a team fight, but it's the late game insurance. That's why you pick the Viego.
Yep.
Just being able to get those resets is just super important, especially on champs like the Jinx, like the Aurelia, or even the Veigar as well. You take everything. So if you get those resets, you can pop off, but I guess that's why they did pick this comp. Nautilus Tristana has really, really high single target burst when it comes to just taking out one target, which will allow the Viego to get those resets, and they can play the team fight out from there. So that's what I think the game plan here is coming in for Pocket Network, right? On the red side? Yeah, so that's what I think their game plan is. So it's all up to execution, though. They need to be really on point, and that's why I think Viego is a very bait pick if you're not very practiced with it. Like, even if you're good at Viego on your own, it's all about how the team plays with it. That's what matters. You can't just pick Viego.
You know, in the beginning when Viego was released, like, I'll tell you one thing, though. I'll tell you one thing about this champion. Kids are scared of scary clowns, but grown men, at the time when Viego was released, they're scared of Viego and Teemo. I'll throw Teemo in there, too, because the champ was really good. And I would say, like, if you saw it in a 5v5, you're like, oh, it's going to be one of those games. Yeah. And now I think it's more manageable if you're on the other team. And like you said, Viego needs a lot of coordination, a lot of communication, and that synergy has to be there from Pocket Network to make this pick useful, because guess what? They also got a semi-global ultimate on this Galio and a global ultimate with Shen. So they're looking heavily into those team fights. You know, they want to get nitty and gritty. And on the 5v5s, the other team, Entropify, have a solid comp as well. So this is going to be really exciting to watch out for, because both these teams, all they want to do is fight. They got press R to win combos as well. You got the Diana engaged. You got the Nautilus engaged. So it's going to be interesting to watch out for.
Definitely. But ease of execution, I just think the champs that have been picked up here on the side of Entropify, EFI, it's just really hard to work with, especially since you pick Diana and Veigar on the same comp. So when you pick Diana, you usually want her to be solo AP. That way it's really hard for the enemy team to spec into MR, but having a Veigar just incentivizes Merc Treads, incentivizes a little bit of extra magic, just maybe a Maw from every single champ here. Shield Bow got Omega nerfed, so
we'll see.
We'll see.
Yep, we'll see in a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back. Strap in your seats. And I guess for the next game is going to be our last, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. We'll be right back.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up, babe. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Just like the sunrise, we gonna just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Only just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up.
Again, we nailed it. We got it right when it said welcome to Summoner's Rift. So we are back here. I got music here. Pentakill Viego, if anybody saw that. Serba was like, don't do that in front of me, please. Do not be doing that in front of me.
That's really bad. That is not great. That's a bad. That feels really bad for the Aurelia.
Why? Because he just
starting E.
Yeah, starting E.
Actually into the Shen. It's a 17-second cooldown level 1, and you can't get your stacks fast. So the Shen is just going to win these early trades here, and you can't do that Aurelia signature level 1 cheese, and he's basing too.
And he got a base, maybe? I don't know. Or just baiting it up.
He has a health regen. He is chilling, but still, the E start's going to feel really bad, especially since the Shen has that ignite. You can actually get cheesed out level 1 now. Shen started taunt, though, so both of them actually having a really rough start when it comes to skills. But
think this Diana is super good. Just the way that they just played the first 30 seconds. I mean, they went and warded with the vision here and the pixel brush, and then got the sweeping. I think both teams did that.
Yeah, both
junglers did that. So that's already a good start. You know, this game is already going to be good. It's going to be some quality here. And they both decided to go ball in for that leash because they went. Oh, what do we got? We got to engage level 1 already. A kiss goodbye. Drops that ignite on Wavo. Wavo going to be taken kind of low here, so he has to either base or try to stay alive with the biscuits that he got delivered.
Ooh, Jinx didn't even get any XP either, so just a huge lead coming through from the bot side already. Health advantage, XP advantage. This is going to feel really bad for the side of Entropify. Just kind of rough for them, but I mean, ooh, Aurelia doesn't hit level 2 yet.
Aurelia, start with the E, now paying the price. Bully you here has the ignite and flash, so it is a very good kill lane for the Shen. I'm surprised he did not run the TP here, because a lot of Shens usually want to use a stand united and TP back to lane, especially early on.
Well, one thing to... Oh, no.
Ooh. But this is the Aurelia. Anything can happen. I've seen crazier things. Again, Bali, you dropping that ignite right on their turn. Not going to give him the kill. And 2v2 happening in the bot lane. Nyx goes in. Rocket jumps in. That's going to be the first blood. ADC down. Ren going to go back to the fountain. And he did use double sums. Mind you, Ren is running, instead of heal, exhaust.
And I agree with that decision. I think heal is just a really bad summoner, especially since most supports are going to be running the ignite. So you run ignite, and heal doesn't really do anything because you... Oh, nice mechanics there from the Aurelia. Just queuing up that second Q so she doesn't get caught out by the taunt. But as I was saying, ignite kind of just hard counters heal. You're healing for what, 50 HP?
Yeah.
And ignite does about 100 at level 3 or something along those lines, right? I can take a quick look here. It does 92 damage and cuts the healing, so it's very high value in that respect. And exhaust does deny a lot of the burst from Tristana, and also gives your support a go button, especially in solo queue. You exhaust the enemy champ that you want the support to target, and
Yeah, that just happened. Flash for flash. Now it's going to be engaged. Ornhub goes in aggressively, smelling blood, and does find it at the end of the day. That's the first kill on the Ornhub, who is piloting the Viego.
And that's just a beautiful play there from the Viego. Just getting landed. That flash stun is pretty huge. And after the Aurelia used her flash to try and get away from the Shen, she just has no way out. Aurelia has the same syndrome as Xin Zhao. They cannot dash out. They can only dash in.
No mana.
Oh, get it.
Oh man, couldn't get the cannon. You hate to see that.
Get it.
Reiko.
Oh, wow, it's just no cannons for the side. No cannons for Pocket Network this game, I guess. Unlucky.
But so far for Pocket Network, this is what I kind of anticipated going into it. Seeing their names before as well, seeing the caliber players they are. This is just a great transition to the game.
And one thing to note, though, the Galio actually ended up going Fleet Footwork. I believe that's just an incorrect rune choice. Oh no, Jinx, honey.
Another one! A kiss goodbye, finds the dredge line. As Ren, a second time in a row, goes back to the base. Nyx with a second kill, already 150 gold bounty on the carry.
That's pretty rough here. But even though the Aurelia did die, if you take a look at the CS department, she is up over 15. So she is even with the enemy Shen, or if not ahead. So she's in a solid position here.
Yeah,
even after dying to that gank.
Yep, dying to that Viego here. Ornhub now solo Drake. Needs to get a pull and support from the actual support here. Kiss goodbye on the roam, on the rotate. Galio does a great thing here. He gets out of vision, knowing that the allies are doing the Drake, however he was spotted. So these are just little things to know for here, as we are going into the next weeks after this game, which is going to be the last for today. It's important to know like how these teams are playing, the little small differences that they have.
And the thing with Galdrake, why Viego had to ask for his Nautilus to help there, it does so much damage. It has the highest or second highest attack speed in the game, so it hurts. It puts the pain on. So you, as a level 5 jungler, you cannot solo that without using your smite early to try and stay alive. No jungler is able to do it early game. Late game, yeah, sure. But early, it feels so bad to solo, so you really need that bot pro, and it's only for a Cloud Drake too, so it feels so bad at the same time. But, I mean, they're able to pull it, they're able to grab it, use the smite at the right time, so they don't have to worry about a 50-50 coin flip burger McDonald's coming through, but...
you know what they say, like, for Ornhub, I know he was just solo Draking, using... his abilities not even level 6 on the Viego. So, you know, IRL, and if you just go around, usually you say please to get what you want, right? But in League of Legends, it's totally different. You say, instead of please, you say I'll go AFK in the chat. Yeah. So, all right, the support's like, oh, wait a minute, let me just come to and help you with that leech. And we saw that the first Drake already secured by PC here. And Sermon, now again, this is a repeat gank from Ornhub. No Heartbreaker available. Vanguard's Age available for this IRL. Going to 2v1, finding that ulti. Here comes Ruzi on the roam. Moon. Oh, yep. Not going to happen.
Don't go for that play.
Moonfall was available, so
yeah,
I thought he was going to use it there.
Level 6. They could have gone. I think they should have gone for that play. I think they have the burst for it.
And the Lunar Rush. Lunar Rush was available. I mean, Aruzi could just close that gap so easily. And on top of that, use the Moonfall to bring him back. And I feel like Sermon CS probably called that off, as he didn't want to fight maybe, because it felt like Aruzi wanted to go for it. So a bit of a communication there.
A little bit of communication error there, and the fact that the Ignite did tick off as soon as the Diana arrived, I think they definitely had a good chance to outplay the 2v2 and win it that way. They're a lot stronger. They have a lot more sustained damage with the Aurelia, with the Diana. Or Diana's damage is not super sustained, but if you can break half the health bar, the Aurelia is just going to be able to sweep right through.
Yep.
Kill them all.
Bali U now maybe going to look for the Stand United. He's not too concerned about the Aurelia. Maybe Stand United would be needed right now. Nyx in trouble. Ruzi engaged from behind him. No time for that Stand United. A kiss goodbye is left lonesome here. Oh, that's a great dredge line to get away from things. Ornhub is here for the stun. Maybe if they do engage on his support. That's a 3-1 scoreline so far. Pocket Network are off to a great start, but this game is close.
Diana picking up the kill also does help her scale up faster. She does a lot of damage, but she really does want to get that Rocket Belt spike. It gives her another dash and another source of damage, so does a lot of damage that way. still waiting a little bit, but she'll be able to get that soon enough here. But Warren Hub has had some pretty solid ganks, some pretty solid pressure. He was there for the counter gank, unfortunately. The Tristana did end up getting caught, and I mean, she's dead no matter what, so I respect her for not burning the flash. It was just a lost fight.
Speaking of lost fights here, we got TP coming up for this Irelia, so maybe she'll go for that aggressive fight, knowing that if she is going to die against the Sen, she has that TP to just come back into the lane. And Bali Yu here goes in with the stun. Stun for stun, they're traded. Not enough mana on this Irelia though, and that's the taunt. That's a beautiful taunt. I actually have the Sigalio skin. It's one of my favorites. Speaking of that though, they're going tit for tat right now. Both ignites drop. Reki just gets ulted on. Johalele with the kill.
I mean, apart from the positioning, just pretty solid, landing all those skill shots there. Main thing to work on next time, if you are Joha Lele, just watch where you're standing a little bit. Galio's engage range, it's just a matchup. Just a matchup you have to learn, but he gets caught out.
Christmas comes early for Nyx as he does find the rocket charge. He was just so confident with that too. That's like the most badass thing I've seen. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna walk the other way. I'm gonna leave that bomb on your head.
Cool, guys, don't look at explosions.
Yeah, explosive charge there, and nicely done. Nyx is 3-1, completing that Noon Quiver. A little bit ahead of the Jinx, 30 CS as well, so almost double the gold lead.
And I mean, 30 CS lead feels pretty bad. 3 kills in her name as well. This Tristana's popping off. And the Viego's also grabbing up some kills. Even on CS, Diana is one of the fastest clearing junglers in the game. So, I mean, I'm definitely expecting her to be ahead in that respect. Yeah. So, it is Hextech Dragon. Oh my god. Both of the hardest streaks to solo in the early game already picked up. That feels so terrible. Uh-oh.
Rosie has a Lunar Rush Moonfall combo as well as the flash to close the gap, but does he want to go in right now when Nyx has the rocket jump? You could just get away from attacks like that with Kiss Goodbye, providing so much peel. And Rekko has that ulti, right? Heroic entrance. He always goes in the river to maybe look for it, but he's always getting spotted by Johalili's ward there, so kind of a clever warding placement there by the mid laner.
Good. A call there from Ornhub to just have his bot lane shoved in and try and grab this dragon. They want to try and get these early dragons going because their win condition is soul. They're not a late game comp. They only have that Viego who scales well. The Tristana scales alright, but into a Jinx, into a Veigar, it's not all that good, so they really do need to get the soul.
Stand United would be clutch here, but Heroic Entrance should probably be enough. The knockup is good. Now the Diana under a lot of attack. Nyx doing a lot of damage from the back line, and Pocket Network do find the kills. Veigar does find the trade, and here we go. Ren gets rooted, has to flash away. This is a Jink flashless now. In the meantime, Rekko gets that kill with the E. Nicely done. So they do manage to out-trade in this fight, but Irelia got a solo kill in the top lane, so that's 2 for 2 overall.
And the thing about Aurelia, if you're playing a hyper carry like that Jinx is, this Aurelia will one-tap you, and now that she's gotten a solo kill, she's up 30 CS. That's pretty insane. She's also going to grab a couple plates for herself too. The Shen has no TP, he has to walk back, but they're really going to respect the respawn timer and back off. So, I mean, even if you're a dead Tristana, this Aurelia will one-tap you. You have to respect it. That's the thing with it. Ooh, nice.
You hate to see that interaction. Rekko now under a lot of fire, but you know, he has to just pick up the wave and recall, just keep up the CS in the mid lane, not necessarily getting a solo kill here, because we just saw how much agency and impact he has with one ulti.
And that's pretty solid for them. They are able to grab a few plates for themselves in the bot lane, so it's a huge bot gap.
I don't know why he keeps doing that.
Oh no.
This could be the solo kill.
Solo.
Oh, but Johaleta doesn't have R. Feels bad.
That could have been a solo bolo, but wait, this Galio's going Riftmaker. I don't know. I don't get that. Oh wow, that was just.
It's a hidden tech.
Unfortunate mechanics on either side.
We're giving a hard time for Sermon here, Sermon CS, for playing the Irelia and starting the E here into the Shen. However, they're holding their own pretty well, as Rosie now doubling down maybe to make a commotion over the top lane.
has recovered the lane quite well.
Yeah, she has.
Already has that Blade of the Rune King. Most like I do want to see her build towards either the Gorjunker or Sunder this game, or Triforce. Anything but shield though. Do not build an item. That item is terrible.
Ooh, Nature's Grabs comes up. This could be a fight in the bot lane. A great knockback. Wavo is here. Kiss it goodbye goes. He just doubles down. He's like, there's going to get taken when I'm here. And Nyx closes that kill with the flash.
Flash Buster shot. Great play there. And Diana's up in the top side too, so this Shen just does not get to play the game. But for playing top side, you're just sacking your entire bot lane. And its Jinx is just 0-3. Their bot lane is 0-4 combined. That feels really bad that Justana already has the Gale Force, has the PD. Just huge power spikes coming through. 2 items already. This Galio build is really boggling my mind. I don't understand it.
Yeah, the Galio build is kind of, I don't know, question mark clever maybe? I don't know. Let's see if it's going to make, you know, make anything happen with the Rift Maker. Galio, never seen it before. Usually you do see Rift Maker on carries who want to get multi-kills here in team fights. Like the Kale. But here we go. They do find a nice pick. This is Pocket Network's game, and you're just in their HUD. Oh, nice taunt coming through. Event Horizon not going to do much besides get 2 to knock up. And there's that Event Horizon doing work, but Heroes Interest doing more work here with the knock up. Nicely done. What an astonishing team fight that was. Pocket Network do make it work eventually, and they don't lose anybody.
That's the power of Viego. You have just so much agency if you're able to play for 1 pick, which they did. They got the Diana pick, and they looked for the Veigar, and unfortunately Maokai was the one who walked up first, so he died first, and then the Veigar. That's just how the power of Viego. You're basically, once you get that 1 pick, it becomes a 6v4, and you know, just keeps going and going and spiraling because Viego regens HP as he gets a reset. He gets more HP when he R's out, and it's just really insane the power of this champion, and he's building towards that Divine Sunderer, so he's going to have a lot of upfront burst, but the problem with this build is your damage consistency is very low, but you are only playing for the 1 pick, so that is definitely ideal here. Ornhub is able to walk away though, using that Spectrum mod against All-Out.
And that's the Viego that we're talking about here, right? Ruzi is able to keep up with it a little bit. The kill participation, however, is favorable for Ornhub. I mean, he has just been all over the map. The team has 10 kills. He has 4 type of, I mean, you know, he has 2 kills and 2 assists, so 4 out of 10 isn't that bad. With that said,
pretty solid.
Yeah, Rekko again having the most assists in the game so far. Or sorry, scratch that. Kiss goodbye having the most assists, but Galio being the second in that. So they have 2 supports essentially. Galio's like, okay, I'll be the secondary support here, provide some peel for Unix.
They have a lot of great pressure to just try and get 1 pick. Like that's what you have to play with a Viego. You play for 1. You play for 1, and that's it. And Viego can carry the fight. So having 2 supports just to try and lock 1 person down and insta-burst them with the help of a Tristana and Viego burst damage is pretty insane. And their draft, although not super meta per se, is still a pretty solid draft for Viego.
Like it's okay. All right, let me just interrupt myself real quick. Mavo with the Nature's Grab. This is a 1v2 for Rekko. He has to be careful. The knockback from Mavo is good, but Rekko does not have the damage to deal with them yet. Event Horizon throwing up here. Here he comes. The money shot all the way from downtown. Mega Death Rocket will pick up the kill, but meantime, Nyx is putting in work here in the team fight, but the ult goes down. Veigar picks up the trade. Event Horizon not doing much, but here comes Sermon. He could be detrimental here. Does find the stall on Ornhub, but the Event Horizon interrupts and Heartbreaker as well. He's super close for the kill. But what a knockdown, drag-out fight that was, and Pocket Network take it away.
Great plays there, but the Veigar got the shutdown, and that's probably the worst person to get this shutdown here, because all of their engage is not blinks. It's all dashes. They have to go forward, and if that Event Horizon lands on a single one of them, the Veigar, especially the Tristana or the Viego, they're both relatively squishy, especially with the second item that Viego's going, Blade of the Rune King, very squishy. So you get hit, you can get insta-burst unless the exhaust is up, and Tristana did not have the exhaust, so just got one-tapped.
She's got 1-tap. The Event Horizon, you know, we're talking about that. It's literally so clutch for FEI right now, EFI. So if they keep that kind of like rinse and repeat mode time and time again, maybe they'll be able to get back into this game, because it's definitely doable. Again, that Event Horizon, Galio just ease into it. Now he's caught up, has to throw out the taunt to stay alive. Stand United comes through. A kiss goodbye around the corner. Joe Holly might get engaged on.
no.
Dredgeline throwing up. Heroic Interest, here he comes. Nobody gets knocked up though. Dredgeline used again. Kiss Goodbye is going in with the ulti. Behind him comes Ornhub and the flash taunt from Boliu. Are they going to make it happen? Rocket jumps over the wall. Nyx coming in hot with the rocket slinging techniques here. And Ornhub goes in with the Heartbreaker with the stun full combo. Wombo there, the double kill for Nyx. Make that entire team almost dying there. The only survival will be red.
And that fight looked good, but the Viego resets just make it better. I mean, it was great plays from Joe Halele, just trying to get those Event Horizons, getting those picks that way, but they just don't have enough damage. They take too long to scale, and that's the problem with picking two losing lanes. Sure, Irelia is winning on side, but your Jinx is losing, your Veigar's losing, or not losing lane specifically, but losing in these teamfights because he's just not strong yet. He takes too long to come online unless you have a way to make it work.
Vanguard's Edge for the last hurrah. Herman goes in, finds one, gets a shutdown. Root is good for the second. This is the time to try and Entropify. They're making it happen. Back-to-back kills right now, making the enemies drop like flies. Nyx gets a trade, though. Rocket jump. Are you going to outplay here? Not really, but that's the triple coming on down from Rosie.
Tristana, you need a Maw now. You really do. Or you at least need a Hex Drinker. Both the AP carries are... No, Aurelia, you are not building Shield Bow. That's not human. No. Please. Just anything but that. It doesn't scale well anymore. It got Omega nerf. Patch notes, sad. But a Maw is definitely a necessity here. I hope Tristana does itemize towards that as this game does go later and later. You really need that up against the Diana, up against the Veigar. Having that magic damage shield is pretty important.
Moving away from itemization, so let's talk a little bit about the macro. What's going on here positioning-wise? Let's analyze the situation because we've been talking a lot about the itemization. We've been talking a lot about the skills and the setups. What can we expect here from the teams to get back in it? We've got objectives coming up right now shortly. 1 minute on the Drake. Already Soul Point for Pocket Network. What are we going to look out for here, especially if Entropify want to get back into the game macro-wise?
So they do have that mid inhib, so they can probably try and farm that out here, but this Infernal Soul feels really bad to play against, especially up against a team that scales really hard with AD, or really hard with Force, Adaptive Force. So they really do need to try and take this Dragon, play for a 50-50 steal, or maybe try for a pick, something. They need this Dragon. They can't win without this if their enemy team gets sold, because that's the win con. So they need to play against the win con here. That's their job. They need to try and get a pick here, and maybe Sermon gets it.
Maybe here, if they do get this pick, they're in a good position in 35 seconds when Drake's going to be spawning. Bully, you might be able to sneak into Stand United there. Event Horizon catches yet another player, almost fully bursted down to Ignite. We'll get him that kill. Joe Halili absolutely clutch there, and that's 2 picks back-to-back for Entropify. They're making a comeback.
That's exactly what you need to see. They need to be grabbing these picks, and now they can potentially grab up this Dragon up in 10 seconds. And now that Tristana's dead, they can't really do this Baron anymore, and they're forcing the Heroic Entrance as well.
Heroic Entrance is on a cooldown. Here comes Vanguard's Edge. Sermon screaming. Ionia goes in, and look at that damage coming from Rosie's absolutely dynamite right now, picking up that double. Nicely done here by the Diana, and now they have priority on Drake. They have priority even on Baron if they really want to pull the trigger, because Viego is going to be dead for another 26 seconds.
And getting this Dragon is, like, Baron's nice, but Viego's up in 20. You're not going to be able to get there in time and take it, because you're going to be your resistance are going to be shredded. So they're going to take the Dragon as best they can, try and get a reset, and maybe contest topside. But their mid inhib's down. They should be trying to farm. But why? Oh no, they're contesting.
Yeah, they go in after securing the Drake. This is looking like a blunder maybe here, because Nyx is here with just so much damage. Rocket jumps in, Event Horizon to zone them off. Veigar goes in, flashes into outplay. Masterful way of deleting his opponents. Somebody stop this guy. Joe Halili, yet another Event Horizon, locks down. Boliu goes down. Joe Halili is on fire.
Great scaling, great...
Another Event Horizon, are you kidding me?
These Event Horizons are on point. Oh my, Joe Halili just playing so well here. Getting these Event Horizons, just being there, getting these picks too. This Veigar is playing out of his mind here. even after like losing the mid
Yep.
lane because of enemy ganks, because of support roams, he's now popping off here, and that's the scaling. That's the X factor. That's what they need to do. They need to get the scale and rolling. So that's exactly what they want to see. And now that they are just perma farming this mid inhib, which is great for them. It's early in the game, so they're just getting so much gold and XP back after losing all of their towers. So even though they lost a lot in the mid lane and the bot lane, they're getting XP, they're getting gold. These super waves are always going to be in their base, so there's no way that mid lane can ever be farmed by the side of Pocket Network until that inhibitor does respawn. So that's just gold bleeding away.
Yeah, and this is a way for them to come back. Maybe they planned that all along. Maybe they wanted to be like, okay, let's lose an inhib here so that we can make a comeback like this and have our Veigar scale like a maniac here. Sermon goes in on the 1v1. Rekko doesn't have
2v1.
all. Yeah, 2v1 with the Stand United, but Vanguard's Edge on a great pace. Flash is used. Follow-up is there. Sermon goes in, flashes in, thirsty, smelling blood, and finds the double eventually as Boliu is neutralized there. So more control on the macro, more control on the 2v1s. This Irelia is popping off as well.
No one can match this Aurelia anymore. She's too strong, working towards that death stance as well. She's just really hard to deal with. And in this side lane, you need to send at least 3 people and a lot of lockdown as well. I think you need more guaranteed lockdown with the Nautilus, but they're going to go for this Baron. There's 2 picks. Viego's up, but can they make this work?
I don't know. This is going to get dicey. TP is available on Sermon, so maybe they're going to withdraw them in and bait them in the fight. Here comes Sermon. Does find the stun on Ornhub. Ornhub has to be careful now. He's in the front line, and Dredgeline is not available yet. Kiss goodbye. He's not front lining much of this, but Ornhub does find the kill. Here comes Heroic Entrance with the Galio. The knockup is good, and this is just absolutely beautiful stuff and clever mechanics by Joe Lilly. Goes golden, but the ult does not connect, and it's going to turn from a hopeful play to a blunder for Entropy-Fi.
That was a big force there, and again, like I said, the Viego, you have to respect it. And just a little bit too deep of a TP, which unfortunately gets turned on right there, and they're able to grab up that pick there on the Aurelia, get those resets, and Viego's able to pop up in that fight. Sure, he only got 1 reset, but it's more than enough, and they can end this game right here, right now.
Yeah, they can end the game if they wanted to right now. It's a 2v4 situation. Nyx already zoning this out. 1v1. Finds the play. The Jinx dies in a gunfight, and that just might be it. But Diana is spawning in 1 second. They could turn this one around. Entropy have this chance to make everything worth it. Vanguard's Edge finds 2. Kiss goodbye. Does not find the Treasure to get out of that one. Sermon Slane's on good pace to get these kills. Nyx gonna rocket jump away. And Ruzi not gonna follow up with the flash.
Ooh, that's very unfortunate. They're just not able to finish the game, and that feels really bad. But, I mean, at the very least, they were able to get 1 next tower and stop the Baron, so it is something. But this Viego is really that X factor that I want to see pop off here. Sure, Nyx is really strong, but it's the resets. That's how you have to win these team fights. You have to play for that 1 pick, and that's how the pick comp works. Viego just pops off. He's able to get those resets, get rolling, but this Veigar is just stopping that from happening, and that's just great play from Joha Lele. And Sermon as well, able to sustain a lot, but Joha using that Event Horizon just does so much work in these fights.
That Event Horizon coming in clutch yet another time. And, here is the question, right? Ren has been a bit quiet. He's been acting like the second support player, barely getting into this game. Look at the gold differential between the carries here. I mean, it's night and day. Wavo goes in. Event Horizon, yet another clutch play, but they don't have the follow-up. Instead, they're going to have to burn their flash. Entropy Fire now on the back foot, and the Drake is going to spawn. Yet another Event Horizon. This could be the burst damage that we're looking for from this Veigar. Mega Death Rocket goes wide. On the target was Boliu. A kiss goodbye, kind of like bodies that rocket, absorbs it up. And we've seen that happen how many times? Rekka goes in right to the Event Horizon. And he's going to cash in his chips. Great Dredgeline to set this up. Great ulti. But Wavo providing so much time with that Nature's Grasp from all the way to the back line. Vanguard's Edge goes golden. But Ornhub, take a look at Ornhub. Nyx is here, but he can't do damage. He goes down. And this time around, Jinx rises above competition and conquers it.
They get 1 pick, but it's not enough. And they do give up the dragon as well, so great plays coming in from the side of Entropy. They are a great scaling comp. They have a Jinx, they have a Veigar, and Aurelia, who's almost unkillable. It is a free Baron, but someone has to match the wave, which is going to be the Veigar, so they have the DBS for this, but and they're also able to pick up this mid wave, which is really huge. And that's the power of, or that's the you know, just like shot yourself in the foot kind of moment there by breaking that early inhib, just farming it out.
It's gonna be
so much
painful. And now with the Baron, I think this is just gonna be the goal lead swing in a great way toward in favor of EFI right now, because Baron provides some gold. Yeah, and then not only that, they're gonna have to push these waves now. Yes, they were farming million for quite some time, but with the Baron buff minions, they might want to start taking some turrets, because they don't have any like tier 2s cracked yet. They're not even in the vicinity. So for them to start cracking open turrets is going to be useful for them, and then they should be transitioning in that right now.
And it's going to be wave states here that's really not letting Entropify end just yet. Every time they do win a team fight or win an objective fight, the waves just are in a really bad spot. They're right next to their base, so they're not really able to make things happen after taking the objective, taking the fight, which is really unfortunate for them, because they are playing these fights really well. They just cannot capitalize on their wins. So even though they are ahead,
they pulled the trigger pretty quick here, and this will get violent very quick. But this engage is called. Event Horizon already hits yet another time. Are you kidding me? Moonfall combo with Lunar Rush for Rusi, who goes in, but absolutely gets 100-0 real quick. And it looks like Pocket Network might be able to find the trades, as they do find 2 for 1. Make that 3 for 1. Vanguard's Ish does not quite connect. Sermon over the top. He needs to make something happen. But that's a huge triple kill from this Veigar, or who's embodying the only reason why they should be staying alive. Orn Hub is on this Viego. You got to be careful. Orn Hub took literally Veigar and made a better version of Veigar.
That's just the reset, baby. That's just what it is. Viego, the Vape Nation himself, that's what he's good at. That's how these team fights have to go, but they still don't have a way to kill this Irelia. She's too tanky. The Death Stance just providing so much value this game, so they need to find a way to punch through that. They need Armor Pen. They need
they almost got ace here for Entropy. Entropify. They got
the Irelia. They can't end through the Irelia. They can't 2v1 that, or even 3v1 that. They just don't have enough consistent damage to deal with her, or even enough burst damage. The Sunderer the Sunderer Bladed Rune King is a lot of damage, but the rest of your team, or the rest of your damage, is dead. It's all on that Tristana to help you burst that down, and because of the GA now, because of that Warden'sville, because of the Death Stance, it's just so hard to break through this Irelia. And she was there to fight late, but because she's alive, because she is able to play these fights out really well, it's just hard for the rest of Pocket Network to actually end the game here. Baron up in 3 minutes, Dragon up in 1:40. So
some big objectives on the map. Some big plays need to happen. This is do or die at this point. Later on we go in the game, the more important team fights become. Yeah, if you die, if you get a pick, it's going to be GG. So Event Horizon is going to be huge here in this scenario. Level 16 on the Veigar, but mind you, Sermon already hitting that level 18, and he almost has full build. He just needs one more item, and that's it. So this is getting scary now. We're approaching the later stages of the game.
Very much so. Later stages of the game are here, and EFI just scales so well. Again, like I said, Jinx, Veigar scale really well. You have one winning lane, and sure, I'm all about not picking 2 losing lanes, but Pocket Network just not able to end, and that's what's been important here. They have a lot of great siege potential, a lot of great tower taking potential. They're just not able to use it. They might find a pick.
Oh, they're gonna go in. A little bit disoriented. Sermon is on a 1v3. The GA is Parak. Bully. He's going to go down. Rico is with Event Horizon. That's a double for Ren. Ren is on fire right now. Steadfast, they're going in. The engages are good. They're going to knock up and root this Nautilus, who bites the dust, and he clocks out. Ruzi with the kill. And that's only 1 alive from Pocket Network. They do have a wave. They could probably take this all the way to the inhibitor maybe. And we got 20 seconds full Infernal. They're might be able to want to take that soul away from PC Network.
He has to suicide for the wave. That's the only way they can save this game. They can end right here. They have a Jinx, they have an Irelia, they have a Veigar. They take these towers so fast. Ornhub needs to make the call, needs to look to ult that wave, so they have a chance in this game.
Oh, but he has nowhere to go. He just gets stunned up. Vio, sit down, they say. Veigar is here. Joha Lily is on fire. Event Horizon for that clutch play, and a great team fight from Entropify. Nicely done. And Salt, that was the closest game we've seen so far in DeFi Legends. What a banger.
Very much so. And I mean, it's just good plays overall. I mean, we saw a really, really solid early game coming in from Pocket Network, but just great resilience, great tenacity from EFI, able to pop off in that late game with their carries, make it work that way. And if damage charts are working, no, they're not, so I can't really take a look there, but just that's what a Vagar and a Jinx can do. The Aurelia also just winning that lane, winning side, and drawing so much pressure. That's the macro play there. So just good plays overall.
Yeah, great plays overall. I have to commend them all here. Brave efforts, and yeah, man, it's just so close. It must be heartbreaking for Pocket Network to be that ahead early on and just getting crushed like that at the later stages of the game. When, yes, scaling took a factor here. Ren got scaled. Sermon CS was just really super clutch throughout the whole game, so no doubt about that. Irelia putting in the work, but then my point is Ruzi, the late game Diana. You got to watch out for those. She can assassinate you in literally 2-3 buttons. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's transition into I guess our late segment here. And Salt, you gotta say anything here before we say goodbye to the beautiful Twitch audience here and come back next week.
I mean, these games have been really fun to watch. I think adaptations can be made, and I think that's all going to come from scrims. So I want to see these teams practicing a little bit more, getting a little bit more synergy. And I mean, the thing is, that was a high execution comp coming in from the side of Pocket Network, and they were able to pull off in the early game. They just weren't able to close out. So if they work on that, I think they have a solid chance in this group. But I mean, tenacity from EFI looking really good there too. So just great overall. And I just think practice is what's going to make these teams look a lot better here overall. So yeah, just a little more practice, and I think you guys all got this. It's going to be really fun to watch. Super excited.
I wonder who got their predictions right for today. I'm going to check that in a bit. If you want to be part of that for the next week, please do join the Discord server. We will welcome you with open arms. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, just like that, we have week 1 of DeFi Legends in the books. You'll be glad to know that next week we'll be back here on Twitch and YouTube, bringing you more competition and continuing the fun on Wednesday and Thursday, the same time as today and yesterday. Till then, gamers, take care of yourselves and always keep the sunny side up. See you soon.